'cause I'm a fool for your love.
And welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is McKenna. I upload makeup tutorials, vlog style videos, and a lot of makeup artist content, like being a freelance makeup artist, what's in my kits, follow me around vlogs, all of that good stuff. So if you're interested, definitely hit that subscribe button. But anyways, moving on to the subject of this video, I am finally going to be talking about contracts, deposits, and basically different policies you should have as a freelance makeup artist. This is something I get asked all the time. I've gotten so many messages over the years of people asking me, hey, what should be in my contracts? How do I even come up with a contract? Like, I'm kind of lost, and I've been putting off making this video for a long time just because I'm no expert in this, but I do feel like I kind of know what I'm talking about. I have been running a business for quite a few years now, and I have a contract that I'm very comfortable with and one that works for me and my business and hasn't really done me wrong. So I thought I would finally share my advice and tips in terms of contracts, deposits, and policies and all of that. I'm not going to tell you exactly what you should have as a business owner, what policies you should have for sure. Like, everyone's is going to be different, but this is my advice, these are my tips. And like I said, I've had a lot of people ask me, so I thought I would finally make a video on this subject. I do want to start off by saying I am no expert. I am not a lawyer. I don't know every single little thing that should be in a contract, but like I said, my contract works for me. You know, it just works, so I thought I would share my advice. But I'm not a lawyer, I'm not anything like that, so, you know, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Before we get started into the nitty-gritty of this video, I do want you guys to comment down below in the comment section what type of freelance makeup artist content you want to see. If you want to see more vlog style videos, if you want to see more what's in my kit videos, product recommendations for your kits, anything involving being a freelance makeup artist, let me know, because I know that's content that you guys really like to see, but I just want to know what type of videos with that content you want to see, if that makes any sense. So go comment down below and let me know what freelance makeup artist videos you want to see. Also, I did make a template for you guys to use if you don't feel like coming up with a contract from scratch. I came up with a pretty generic template that you can edit and add your own information on Word. So yeah, if you feel like not coming up with your own contract and you just want to use a template that I made, it pretty much has all the key points that you would need. You just need to kind of customize it to your business and add in some information here and there. But yeah, if you want to get that template, stay tuned to the end of the video and I'll tell you how you can get that template, and I'll be happy to send it to you, but stay tuned to the end to find out how you can get that. But anyways, let's get started. I have a lot of information to give you guys, like a lot. So you may want a notepad and a pen because I'm going to be talking for a while because there's a lot to go through. I even have a little notepad here with all of my notes. By the way, I'm sitting in the corner of my makeup studio right now because I just want it to be like a more chill vibe. I'm sitting on my chair that my clients, like guests, usually sit in. And by the way, this is a piece by my brother. He's an artist. I'll link his Instagram down below. I don't know, I just thought I'd mention it because it's literally right here in your face. So why are contracts important? Contracts are important because they basically legally bind your client to you and your services at a specific time and date, and basically ensure that your client is going to use you for that time and date. You're not holding a date for no reason, and it just kind of like locks everything in and officially books a client with you. I know for me, I require a contract to be signed and a deposit to be sent in order to be officially booked with me and officially book my services, especially for weddings, because I am a bridal makeup artist. Contracts basically protect yourself, protect your business, and ensure that your client is definitely going to use you and your services on a specific date and time, and it just kind of holds the client accountable as well and holds yourself accountable, because you wouldn't be sending out a contract if you're not going to actually do the job. So it kind of ensures the client, hey, I'm going to be there for you on your wedding day, and it ensures that your client is definitely booking you and ready to use you for your services. Now that we got why a contract is important out of the way, now when it comes to building your own contract, you're probably like, where do I start? I'm new to this industry and I feel like I need a contract to protect myself, but I don't know what to do. I get it. I've been there. When I started out doing makeup and started out in weddings, I actually didn't require contracts because I knew literally nothing about them. I didn't really know about being a business owner and what it takes and how to protect myself. And I've learned the hard way, and I realized the importance of contracts and how important it is to make a client accountable and make sure that you're not holding a date for absolutely no reason. So I suggest starting off making a list of different things that you feel are important and things that you feel should be on your contracts. Now, everyone's list is going to be different. What I mean by this is like, should you have your cancellation policy, your price list, all of that. Everyone's list is going to be different because as business owners, we all prioritize things differently, and something that may be super important to me may not be that important to you as a business owner. But start off by making a list of things you think should be on your contract. Once you made a list, I then suggest researching examples of makeup artists or hairstylist contracts. Just Google examples of makeup artists or hairstylist contracts, bridal contracts, whatever. And I would look at various different examples to really wrap your head around what should be generally on a contract. All the contracts are probably going to have very similar things, but there may be some differences and different things that some artists have on there and some artists don't. And basically just start compiling an even more refined list than you had before of things that you definitely feel, okay, now I know I need this on there, I need this. Because a lot of times when you look at examples, there's going to be things on those contracts that you're going to be like, oh my god, I didn't even think of that, and that's so important. Like, of course I should have that on there. So that's at least what I did, and it really helped me. And like I said, I just looked at different examples and kind of gathered even more information, and there were so many things that I was like, yeah, I need that on there. Like, how did I not think of that? So definitely look up examples. Okay, so now I'm gonna mention the key points that you should have in your contract. These are things that most contracts have. These are things that you really don't wanna leave out of your contract. They're very important. They're things that you should definitely have. So these key points are client information, the amount of people needing your services, the extra fees, any extra fees that you may have, be very clear about that. Your cancellation policy, your rescheduling policy, your deposit policy, your payment policy, and of course, your signature. Now I'm gonna go into detail of each one of these key points. So, starting off, client info. You're gonna want your client to fill out general information as their name, address, number, email, of course, the date of the event, where the event is being held, where they are getting ready for that event, because although their event may be somewhere, at a venue, they may not actually be getting ready there. The time of the event, just so you know, and the time, now this is very important, the time that the photographer wants them ready. Because if you are doing bridal makeup, all brides are gonna have a photographer of some sort. And I have learned this the hard way. A lot of brides just put down a time that they need to be ready, thinking, oh, that makes sense to me. My event's at 5, so I want to be ready by 4. But no, that's never going to be the case. The photographer is always going to have a specific timeline that they want their brides ready by. They're the one vendor that's pretty much there from the very beginning of the day to the end. They're there all day, all night at the event. So they have a specific timeline that they need to stick to, and majority of the photographers, I would say 9 out of 10 of the photographers that I worked with have wanted the brides ready at least 2.5 to 4 hours before the event. Now it does depend on the photographer. Some photographers can work really quickly, only need them ready 2 to 2.5 hours before the event and are able to get all the family shots in and all of that. Some photographers like a lot of time and like 4 hours to get all of their photos done. It also depends if the client is doing a first look or not. That definitely affects the timeline. A lot of times brides are really off when it comes to the time that they think they need to be ready and the time that the photographer wants them ready. So definitely have them ask their photographer first before they fill out that information, because the last thing you're gonna want is to think, okay, my bride needs to be ready by 3 p.m. and she has 10 girls getting makeup, so I'll start at this time and that will be fine. I'm not gonna need another artist. I'm just gonna do everyone myself and just start earlier in the morning. And then find out, no, the bride needs to be ready by 12 p.m. 3 hours is a big difference. So that screws up your whole schedule. Now you're gonna have to hire another artist. It could be last minute at this point. So just do yourself a favor, have them contact their photographer. That way everyone's in the loop and knows when the bride has to be ready. Moving on to the amount of people needing your services, definitely have the bride fill out the amount of girls that will be getting makeup or hair. And my policy, I have a policy that goes off of this. I require the exact number of girls to be given to me 60 days before the wedding. A lot of times brides are booking me a year in advance, and a year before the wedding they don't know exactly how many girls are going to want hair and makeup. At least for me it's just makeup, but I'm going to keep saying hair and makeup because this information can apply to a hairstylist as well in a hairstylist contract. But anyways, I have, a lot of times the brides are not really sure on the exact amount of girls that are going to be getting their makeup done. So I just ask that they please fill out the number that they know for sure are going to get makeup done. So if they know for sure 2 of their bridesmaids are going to get makeup done, 2 of the moms, and then themselves, I have them fill out, okay, 5 girls for sure are getting their makeup done. A lot of times before I came up with this policy, brides would just put, oh, I have 7 bridesmaids and myself and 2 moms, so I'm just gonna fill out everyone. So I'm just gonna do 9 other people are getting makeup done and myself, because that's the amount of girls I have in my bridal party and the 2 moms. And the case ends up being that not everybody wants to get their makeup done. There's some girls that like to do their own makeup, whatever, there's various reasons why. But like I said, all because you have 7 girls in your bridal party doesn't mean they're all going to be getting their makeup done. So what would end up happening is brides would fill out, you know, oh, 10 girls are getting makeup done, and then when it came down to a month before the wedding, they say, oh, by the way, it's only 5 people. So guess what? I've been holding this date for how long? A year, and now I'm making half the money that I thought I was going to be making, and my whole schedule screwed up because I could have even scheduled another wedding that day if I wanted to. If there was only 5 girls, I could have did them, banged them out, and went to another wedding and did another bridal party. But I didn't do that because I thought I was doing 10 girls and I was going to be occupied for hours and hours at this one specific venue for this one specific bride. And again, that's not even the part that bothers me, is like if it messes up my schedule. The part that bothers me is I rely on my weddings. I rely, and I know how much money typically I'm going to be making when I book a wedding. You know, if it's 7 girls, I know how much money that's going to be. But if you're telling me now half the girls aren't getting their makeup done anymore, that's half the money that I thought I was going to be making. So my suggestion to you, and again, you don't have to do this, but I strongly suggest it. Have a policy somewhere on there that states that once this contract is signed, the amount of people that you fill out that will be getting makeup done, let's say 6 girls as an example, you are required to that number. If one of the girls ends up not getting makeup done, then you either need to replace that girl with someone else or still pay for their service. So you are allowed to add to the amount of people getting makeup done as long as I approve for it, and I do state this, as long as I approve the amount of people you're adding and make sure that we have enough time to add, let's say 4 girls, but you are not allowed to take away from the amount of people. Trust me, this will save you the headache, because once they see that, they know, okay, I know for sure 4 girls are going to be getting it done, so I'm just going to put those 4 girls down, and if I have to add a few more, then I will, but I don't want to have to get stuck paying for 3 girls because I put down 7, and there's not actually going to be 7 girls getting their makeup done. You know what I'm saying? So, strongly suggest you're allowed to add to the amount of people, but you're not allowed to take away from the amount of people. Very important. Okay, so as for extra fees, because I did mention that as a key point, the reason why I mentioned that is because you never want to surprise a client when you send them their final invoice and have these fees on there that they weren't aware of from when they signed the contract. Be very clear about any extra fees you may have, and by extra fees I mean fees for travel, fees for holidays. So if someone's booking you on a holiday or a weekend of a holiday, you may charge an extra fee. I know I do, just because sometimes holiday weekends, like especially July 4th, Memorial Day weekend, those are some of the busiest weekends usually for makeup artists. There's a lot of weddings then, and a lot of people do charge an extra fee just because they're taking time away from spending with their family and friends and working when everyone else is off. So yeah, and if someone's booking you on a holiday, that extra fee might be a little bit higher. But I know like Memorial Day weekend, I charge a little fee. July 4th, New Year's, that may be it. Labor Day weekend. So yeah, holiday fees. If you charge extra for lashes, you want to state that. I personally include regular lashes in my pricing, but I do charge extra for mink lashes, so that's a separate fee. What else would be an extra fee? That's pretty much it. Usually that's like pretty much all you'd be charging extra for. And don't forget to put your pricing on your contract. So where people check off the amount of people that will be getting makeup, have your pricing there somehow, either list it or whatever, because again, you don't ever want to surprise anybody with some different pricing when you go to send them their final invoice. Whatever pricing is on that contract is the pricing you need to give them. Even if you've had price increases since then, that happens all the time to me, because usually at the beginning of every year I do a price increase. So, you know, there's many times where I do weddings and they have my old pricing, but I still have to honor that because that's a pricing that they booked with. And, you know, there's nothing you could do about that. So, okay, moving on to cancellation policy. So cancellation policy is going to be kind of personal. Everyone has a different policy. And again, I would just recommend looking at the examples that you looked at earlier and see what their policies are. Maybe just take some information from different policies that you saw and make your own. For me, typically I find within this industry, the standard is 90 days. I need 90 days notice if you're going to be canceling your wedding or whatever. And if I don't get the proper notice, then you are required to pay your final balance. May be harsh, but again, we are in an industry where we hold dates for a very, very long time, and we need to protect ourselves, because if we are holding a date for 6 months and declining other inquiries that come in for that date because we have a contract with this person, and all of a sudden they cancel on you a month before, guess what? You just lost out on so much potential money, because those girls that were contacting you months prior are no longer going to need you anymore. By then they already found somebody. So now you're going to end up jobless on that specific date. So I recommend 90 days as like a good point. You have 90 days, so 3 months to give me notice if you need to cancel, you know, for whatever reason, if they're calling off the wedding, whatever. God forbid, hopefully that never happens. Yeah, so cancellation policy, if they don't give you the proper notice with whatever amount of days you want to use, if it's 60, if it's 90, if it's more than that, whatever, then they are required to pay the final balance. Rescheduling policy. Now, this is something that is actually new to my contract, because I have never had to deal in my life with rescheduling weddings. I've never had to have a bride reschedule. It's just something that many of us in this industry have never had to deal with. And guess what? We are all dealing with that right now, especially with COVID. Millions of brides have had to reschedule their weddings, and I have had to reschedule many weddings, and the number just keeps going up and up the longer we're in quarantine, because the longer we're in quarantine, the more brides are realizing, oh my God, I might as well just push my wedding back in case. So yeah, this is a new policy for me, but I think it's important at this point because this is our new normal. We don't know if this will ever happen again, and you know, since I'm actively dealing with this, I decided to add it into my contract. And basically what their rescheduling policy is I state the reasons why you maybe have to reschedule. So pandemic, venue canceling on you, venue having to postpone for whatever reason, you know, etc. But my policy is I have no problem applying your deposit for the first date towards a new date. No rescheduling fee required. I just take your deposit and I apply it towards a new date. However, there's no guarantee I'm going to be available for every single new date that a bride needs. So I do state in there, you know, I will do my absolute best to accommodate your new date. And if I can, 100% fine with applying your deposit towards that new date. If I am not available for whatever reason, I will do my best to help you reschedule with another artist and give you some great recommendations for people that I trust. You know, unfortunately, that may happen. Someone may have to reschedule and I can't accommodate them. And of course I would do my absolute best to, you know, recommend an artist that is available and an artist that I know and trust and I find reliable. So again, no problem applying a deposit towards a new date, but if I am not available for that new date, then deposits are still non-refundable regardless. So one of the reasons why deposits are definitely not refundable with me, and 99.9% of artists and wedding vendors in general, is because again, we hold our dates for so long. And like, for example, with this pandemic, I've had to reschedule so many weddings, and if I luckily I haven't had to cancel any weddings, and there was only one bride that canceled on me instead of rescheduling. But if I had, let's say, 10 brides that just flat out canceled their weddings on me because of COVID, then, and I had to give all those deposits back, you guys, I would be like broke. Like, I can't be giving back hundreds of dollars to 10 different people. Like, no. So I have to protect myself at the end of the day, and I have to protect my business. So moving on to deposits. Now, everyone is going to have a different deposit policy. I would say majority of people either have a flat deposit fee, which I don't really recommend, and I'll get into why in a second. And then a lot of people do percentages. So they'll say, you know, your deposit is 40% of your final total, or 50%, or 20%, whatever it may be. I used to do that, and then I switched to my method, which is I have a flat fee for 3 different ranges. So 3 to 5 girls is a $100 fee. 6 to 8 girls getting makeup is a $200 fee, and 9 or more girls is a $300 fee. That, don't ask me why, it's just that's what works for me. One, it really gets the bride to commit to and like talk to her bridesmaids on who actually wants makeup done. It kind of gets them to really commit to a number when filling out the contract, because obviously they need to know what deposit fee they're gonna owe me. And yeah, it just, I don't know, it just works better for me. So I just have a range of girls, 3 to 5, 6 to 8, 9 or more, and yeah, that's just what works for me. But I don't recommend having like a flat deposit fee. Like, let's say your deposit fee is a $50 fee, because what's gonna happen is, you know, you may have a wedding that's for 10 girls, and a $50 fee for a 10-person wedding really isn't nothing and isn't covering any of the costs. You kind of want your deposit fee to be enough where if for some reason they do decide to cancel on you, that they're not going to want to miss out on that money. $50 to a lot of people when they're spending 50 grand on a wedding, let's just say, is really nothing. So they may not have any problem canceling on you and may not care about losing out on a $50 fee. So I would recommend having your fee a little bit higher. Have it at a point where it's like, okay, if I really need to cancel on this vendor, do I want to miss out on $300? No, not really. I mean, $300 is a lot of money. So, and again, make sure that your deposit fee is non-refundable. Okay, so the next part is payment. Now, some people really don't care about how they're paid, the form of payment that they get, or they don't care if 5 different people are paying them the day of the wedding. I personally am very picky about it, and I lay it out in my contract on how I like to be paid. So I list the forms of payment that I accept, and then I also state that I only want one person to pay me. So typically that ends up being the bride or the mother of the bride or like father of the bride. And the reason for that is because a lot of times I'm doing weddings that are on average usually like 7 or 8 girls, and the last thing I want is 7 or 8 girls trying to pay me all at once or pay me throughout the day when I'm just focused on working. Because a lot of times I lose track of who paid me, who didn't. Sometimes people just would you know, leave their payment on my station and I wouldn't even see it. So I just recommend having one person pay you. You know, I've never had a bride have a problem with that. If you do have someone that has a problem with that, I would just explain, you know, hey, have your bridesmaids pay you the day before, either Venmo you or whatever, have them pay their amount of the makeup. That way you're not ending up to have to pay for everybody and yourself. So I just recommend one person because it's really hard to keep track of 8 different people paying you in 8 different ways. Some people want to Venmo you, some people want to pay cash. So just having someone pay with one check or one Venmo or, you know, one envelope of cash is way easier than having to keep track of multiple different people paying you. And even if you have a team, like let's say you have other artists there, but you're the owner of your bridal company, have still the bride pay you directly, you get the final balance, and then I would just recommend paying all your artists or just one other artist separately. However, I do state in my contract, because typically when I have an artist help me, it's only one other girl, maybe 2 other girls. I, you know, say, give the final balance to me. You don't need to give that to the other artist. However, if you would like to leave gratuity for that artist, or any of your girls would like to leave gratuity for that artist, you can give that directly to her because I don't need to handle her tips. So that's that for payment. And then, okay, so as for the signature part, you're just basically want to state, you know, by signing this, you are agreeing to all the terms and policies, have them put the date of the event, the date that they're signing, and obviously their signature. But I did want to mention that I actually just started using this program called HelloSign, and it has made things so much easier, especially with having to reschedule so many weddings and having to send out so many different contracts and revise many different contracts and add in the new postponement date. It's just been so much easier to use this program. So basically, you just upload your contract onto this program, you put in the email that you're sending it to, you can write a little message if you want to the client, and then they could actually sign right on their computer or phone. So rather than them having to print it out, scan it back to you, and all these extra steps, they literally do it directly on their computer or phone, and it's so much easier. If there's parts of the contract, which I know on mine, there's many parts where they actually have to either write something out or type something out. You can put text boxes where they need to write that stuff. You can put check marks, like if they need to check something off. And then of course you can have them sign, like you put where you want them to sign. So it's just really, really easy. It literally takes like a minute to do, and I just find it so much easier. It does cost, I think, like $15 a month or something like that, but honestly I think it's worth it with the amount of contracts. Like if you're sending out a lot of contracts, I would recommend doing that way. If you're just starting out and you're not doing a ton of weddings yet, and you know, maybe only need to send out a couple contracts a month, then I would just use Google Documents, because you can put your contract right on there, and then you can share the document with your client, and they can type in their answers right on Google Docs, and then print it out, sign it, and then have them scan it back to you. If they don't have a scanner, because I noticed a lot of my brides don't have scanners, or they either would have to wait till they go back into work. If it's like a Saturday, they'd have to wait till Monday to scan it back to me at their office. I realized, and I did not know this for the longest time, if they have an iPhone, there's actually an option to scan pictures in the notes section of your iPhone. So if you go in notes and you click on the little camera icon, there'll be an option to scan a photo, and it basically makes it look like it's a scanned image and that you use an actual scanner, when in actuality you just took a picture of it. So they can use that. And if they don't have an iPhone, there's many different apps out there. I used to use Genius Scan as a way to scan documents as well, and you could do it right on your phone. So yeah. So the next thing I'm going to mention are just some little extra things that you could have on your contract. They're not like necessary. They're not as important as like your cancellation policy and all of that, but they're kind of nice to have on there, and I have these things on my contract, and it's just little extra things that I feel like are pretty important. One of them is I have my brides list like key vendors, so photographer, basically vendors that I'm going to be working directly with that day, or vendors that their work is going to be in my photos as well. So number one, photographer. You know, I'd like to just have their information so I can contact them directly after the wedding rather than going through the bride. I just contact the photographer directly to see if they're willing to send me any of the photos from the wedding so I can post on my social media. Two, the hairstylist, of course, because that's the one vendor you're going to be working closely with that day, and most likely you're going to be working on the bride at the same time as the hairstylist. So I like to know who their hairstylist is, if I've worked with them before. I also have them list their florist, just because that's another vendor that usually meet that day, and their work is usually in all of the photographers' pictures, so you want to be fair and give credit to everyone when you can. And what was the last vendor? Photographer, hairstylist, florist. Oh, and where they got their dress. If you're going to be posting any pictures of them in their gown, it's nice to tag the dress shop or whatever. So I have them list those people and also their social media, so their like Instagram handle. And yeah, it's just nice information to have that day when you're posting on your story while you're at your wedding. You can tag those different vendors. It's a nice way to, like, you know, start a business relationship with those people, and also just give credit where credit is due. Another thing is, how did they find you? I have brides check off where they found me. If it's the Knot, Wedding Wire, Instagram, Google, a referral. If it was a referral, I have them write the client's name, and I think that's it. I think those are all the options. Or yeah, no, that's it. So have them check that off. That's honestly just for me. That's like personal information that I just like to know about. Like, it would be nice at the end of the year just to look at all the contracts and see where most of my clients are finding me. I like to see if most of them are finding me through Instagram, through Facebook, wherever it may be. It's just nice information to have. And then if I find that most people are finding me through one specific, you know, social media or website, then I can really focus on that and push my business through that. Like, if it's the Knot, I can really work on my Knot profile and make sure that even more people are finding me on there. You know what I'm saying? So it's just good information to have. And the last thing is, have them check off if they're okay with before and after photos and before and after videos. Honestly, I've never had anyone not be okay with that, but I still had them check it off just in case, because I would hate to insult somebody by posting their before picture and then like not be okay with that, because some people are, you know, very self-conscious about that and they don't want their bare face out there on social media, and I get it. But you know, most people honestly just say, I don't care. Yeah, you can post whatever you want, because at the end of the day, it's our work, you know, so we want to be able to promote our work, and most brides are totally cool with that and, you know, completely understand that. So, yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I think I went through everything. I feel like I've been talking forever, so I'm pretty sure I talked about everything I needed to talk about. But if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to ask me either in the comment section, or you can shoot me a DM on Instagram, something like that. I will be honest, I don't always see my DMs on Instagram because a lot of times they go into like a requested folder, so they don't go into like my main primary direct messages inbox. I don't know, it's weird. So sometimes I don't see them right away, so I apologize. I'm not ignoring you, I just don't always see the DMs right away. So maybe if anything, just comment in the comment section and I'll answer there. But okay, so if you want the template I was talking about in the beginning of the video, all you have to do is go to my most recent Instagram post. I'll put my Instagram handle right here, and comment and like my most recent Instagram post, and of course follow me. You definitely have to follow me. But yeah, comment on my most recent post about I don't know, wanting the template or any type of comment, but at the end of the comment leave your email address and I'll be happy to email you the templates that I made up. So yeah, it's just less work you guys have to do if you don't feel like coming up with a contract from scratch. I got you covered, and it pretty much has all the key points you would need. You would basically just have to go through and refine it and, you know, customize it to you and your business. But it kind of takes some of the hard work off your shoulders. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.